Good morning, students. Myself, Dr. Balasubramaniam, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Zoology, Government First Grade College and PG Center, Chintamani. And today, we are going to discuss about the second part in the pisciculture. So, first part we did in the last class, that is the different types of inland pisciculture. And today, we see about the fish farming in this topic. And fish farming, here, this belongs to the zoology subject, and the part is the economic zoology, and session 44. So today, we'll discuss about the pisciculture, steps involved in the fish culture. Steps involved in the fish culture. So as you know, here, so there is the first part is the breeding purpose, where the female fish is given the artificial injections, particularly the gonadotropins, the FSH and LH. So to increase the enormous quantity of the eggs. So here the injection is shown here. Normally the eggs laid by the fish are less, but when the induced spawning, so just give a lot of injections, the hormones given to the fish, so as to enhance the number of eggs. So here, the fishes can be done in the natural spawning, also the induced spawning. In the induced spawning, the number of eggs are more compared to the natural spawning. So in any case, the eggs are there in the hatcheries and is followed by the larval phase, followed by the nursing phase, and followed by the adolescent phase. So here, broadly, we discuss in the pisciculture, see, first part is the breeding grounds. First part is the breeding grounds. Second part is the collection of the eggs, fingerlings, and fish fry. Second part. First part is the breeding grounds. Second part is the collection of eggs, fish fry, and fingerlings. So fish fry and the newly hatched ones, fingerlings are the small fish. Then allowing these fish to the feeding ponds. So feeding ponds only, say small feeding ponds and large feeding ponds. So that is the third and fourth aspect, feeding ponds. Small feeding ponds and large feeding ponds. The fifth part is the harvesting. And finally the processing and preservation. So likewise, there are 7 steps are there. 7 steps are there in fish culture. So you see the 7 parts in the fish culture or inland fish culture. Once again, I just remind you. First part is the breeding grounds. Second part is the collection of the eggs, fingerlings and fish fry. Third part is the feeding ponds, small feeding ponds and large feeding ponds. Fourth one is the harvesting thing. And fifth one is the processing. And seventh one is the preservation. So these are the main steps involved in the fish culture. 7 important steps. On these 7 steps, we see they discuss about the different topics here, the different aspects here. So here, the fish culture is the processing of growing improved varieties of fish, having good taste under controlled conditions and management. So fish culture is the processing of growing improved varieties of fish, having good taste under controlled conditions and management. So the fish culture not only produces nutritious food, but also helps in generating the income and provides job opportunities to many people. So here, why we should do the fish culture? So to increase the quantity of fish, first of all, quantity of fish. Second, to increase the taste, delicious. The third thing, to generate income. And the fourth one is to provide job opportunities. So first of all, here, see the steps involved in the fish culture. Proper construction, preparation, and maintenance of fish ponds are key parameters in successful aquaculture practice. Proper construction, preparation, maintenance of fish ponds are key parameters for successful aquaculture and practice. See, proper construction means there should be proper aeration. First of all, proper aeration. Second thing, there should be proper food supply. The third thing, there should be good hygienic conditions for the conducive growth of the fish. And the different ponds are there, as I discussed. So there is a nursery ponds, rearing ponds, production ponds, segregation ponds, breeding ponds, or spawning ponds. So that's what I told about here. First of all, 7 points ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. See, 7 points you should keep in mind. As far as the pisciculture or fish farming is concerned, 7 steps are there. See, what are the 7 steps? First step is the breeding ponds or spawning ponds. First thing. Second thing, collection of fish, fry, eggs and fingerlings. Third thing, nursery ponds. Small rearing ponds and nursery ponds. Third one. Fourth one is the rearing ponds. Fifth one is the production ponds, segregation ponds, harvesting ponds and fifth one. Sixth one is the processing. Seventh one is the preservation. So these are the 7 steps involved in the fish culture. The whole topic here revolves around these aspects. So nursery ponds are shallow, while others are moderately deep. In large production of ponds, water can be maintained 2 to 3 meters. See, nursery ponds andre, so the fish are very small. Here we collect the fish eggs, fingerlings and fish fry. So fingerlings are the small ones, fish fry are newly hatched, and eggs, eggs are there. So these eggs are minute. So therefore these ponds also should be very small ponds, because the size of the fish is very small, maybe 1 mm or 1.5 mm. That is the size of the newly hatched fish, depending on the species. Then preparation of ponds involves the making pond weed and predator free. So the pond should be predator free. The enemies should not there. And host generation adequate food to survival and good growth of the fishes. Important part of the preparation of the ponds. Now this includes 2 stages, namely conditioning and manuring. See, conditioning condition refer to the physico-chemical characters present in the water. One. Second thing, the free from the predators. Third thing, free from the pests, free from the diseases, and good aeration qualities. There should be proper aeration. And of course, this oxygen should be well penetrated. So there should be no bacterial growth. The water should be a good aeration. Bacterial growth irabadu. So these things are there. Manuring, of course, means just applying the fertilizers, particularly the calcium and the cow dung and other the food materials for the growth of the fish. Conditioning of the pond. Here, the layer of lime is spread over the bottom of the pond for 2 weeks. It removes the acidity. Lime, calcium carbonate, it is one of the good alkaline medium. It removes the acidity of the soil. Facilitate desirable geochemical cycles. Geochemical cycles are there. Geochemical cycles, maybe the nitrogen cycle, sulfur cycle, geochemical cycles, and kills the unwanted soil organisms. Water is let in slowly after 2 weeks and filled the desirable depth. The quality parameters like temperature, oxygen content, pH, turbidity, hardness, alkalinity, plankton growth should be checked for optimum levels before stocking the fish. So this is the conditioning. The proper conditioning is very much essential for the growth of the fish. For that matter, if an individual want to live a healthy life, the proper things should be there. There should be proper exercise. There should be proper food content and physical exercise. And the normal levels should be there. That is, the normal health parameters should be there. Now, manuring of ponds, after conditioning the ponds, organic or chemical manure is applied in order to develop the fish food organisms like phytoplanktons and zooplanktons. So here the food of the fish is the phytoplanktons and zooplanktons. So phytoplanktons and zooplanktons. So phytoplanktons are the primary consumers, primary producers are producers. Primary consumers are zooplankton. Secondary consumers are small fish. Tertiary consumers are the big fish. Like that. So there is a food chain. Now organic manure may be urine or sewage rich in nitrogen wastes like cow dung, pig dung, poultry manure, plant manure such as green manure, compost, oil cake. Use of the chemical fertilizers varies according to the concentration of phosphorus and nitrogen in the soil. So depending on the phosphorus and nitrogen, now the correspondingly the fertilizers vary. Now, further, the culturing of fish involves two steps, following steps. So I told spawning can be either natural or artificially induced. The brood fish spawn naturally on the plants. So that means the spawning, laying the eggs naturally in the ponds and spawning ponds. Artificially, the brood is made to breed in hatcheries by injecting them the hormones, that is the FSH and LH. So these are the gonadotropins, which acts on the ovaries to induce the folliculogenesis and thereby increase the number of the eggs. And LH, is helpful for ovulation, release of the eggs from the ovary. Now, larval phase, in the pre-larval phase, the newly hatched fish fry come out of the eggs. During larval phase, the fish fry swims up and now they are hanging fry. This fry feeds on rotifers as their first food. So rotifers are the zooplanktons. So nursing phase, the fish are generally nursed both in the ponds and specially constructed tanks. There are predators in the ponds. The tanks of the ponds must be dense populations of paramecium and rotifers. The nursed fry enters adolescence phase, now called fingerlings. Now fingerlings will feed on the artificial proteins as well as natural foods. So artificial proteins, artificial fish meal, rich in the proteins. So management of the fish ponds, feed and water qualities are two major factors governing the production of fish and culture ponds. Also seed quality and stocking are another management practices. Measures determine the extent of fish population. The water quality involves the regulation of temperature at 25 degrees centigrades, room temperature to 27 degrees centigrades. Dissolved oxygen, pH around 6.5 to around 7. Hardness, alkalinity, turbidity, plant or culture, etc. All these are the steps taken to manage the fish ponds so as to increase the quality and quantity of fish. Harvesting the fishes are reared both in undrainable and drainable ponds with long harvesting ditches. During harvesting, they must be drained slowly since the fish tend to swim towards incoming water. Small quantity of water is flowed into the pond near the drainage site to concentrate the fish. So that means small quantity of water should be allowed while harvesting. So these are steps involved. just see the various steps involved in fish culture. Last class or the last slide we discussed about the steps involved in the fish culture. Then finally, when the large quantity of fish is concentrated in the harvesting pits, aeration should be supplied. Finally, the fishes are harvested drag nets. Now, once the harvesting is done in the nets, they are transferred to the aerated tanks for 3 to 5 hours. And the density of fish in the transport tanks and duration of the pond depends on the fish size, temperature and amount of aeration. The majority of fishes are transferred live to the markets, either live or freshly dressed. So this is the different things are there. Now after this harvesting, we have processing. Say processing involves the removal of the unwanted material from the fishes. And finally, the preservation. The different steps are there in the preservation, like salting or sun drying or pickling or canning or sun refrigeration, deep freezing, etc. Now composite fish farming is another small topic here. Composite fish farming is referred to the rearing of 2 or more varieties of fishes in the same plot of land. Composite fish farming, also called polyculture or mixed farming, since 2 or more varieties of fishes are reared in the same plot of land. See, composite fish farming practiced in the paddy fields of West Bengal and Andhra Pradesh. So that means here, in a given plot of area, 2 or more varieties of fishes are reared. That is called composite fish farming. So advantage of composite fish farming, the fish productivity is comparatively higher. The productivity of fishes is high compared to the monoculture. See, monoculture is different from composite fish farming. Composite fish farming also called polyculture. So polyculture, that is, in the polyculture or composite fish farming or mixed farming, all means the same. 3 terminologies are there: composite fish farming, mixed farming or polyculture. Opposite to polyculture is the monoculture. In the monoculture, the productivity is lesser, but in the polyculture, the productivity is comparatively higher. The disease spread is minimum or less to a certain extent. The economic returns of the fish farmer is increased. The economic returns of the fish farm is increased because the food resources are used more efficiently. There is a maximum usage of the food resource in aquatic medium. The competition among the fishes for food is greatly reduced. So in the monoculture, the food resource competition is more. In the polyculture, there is a diversity in the food habits. In the diversity in the food habits, so the competition of the food is less. Further, the fishes grow faster in the composite fish farming. So these are the advantages of the composite fish farming. Finally, this is the references. We see economic zoology topics, Shukla and Upadhyaya and Irina and Mathur, and vertebrates by R.L. Kotpa. Thank you for listening.